All right, and we are rolling, folks. Welcome to episode 22 of Music Memories, our series with yours truly, Dr. Earl W. Brown and Arknolia Bean. And tonight we're going to be taking a look at the top 20 list of the Fab Four. Now there's two selected here that Arknolia has. The top 20 songs from the Beatles prior to Sergeant Pepper, and the top 22 after Sergeant Pepper.
Well, including Sergeant Pepper too.
Yeah, absolutely. They're one of the greatest summer albums of all time, no doubt about that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I remember I mentioned this before to you at the time when I first heard the whole album on a 4-track cartridge back in about when it was around 1978 after I first started getting into the Beatles. He had all these 4-track cartridges. Now, once again, the 4-track cartridges that we were talking about, they were like 8-track cartridges, but only two programs, one and two, instead of four programs like the usual 8-track were.
Right.
And of course, this was a lot more proper because in the 4-track, you had to deal with the beginning of one song and continuing on the next program, which was always something I always had to deal with a lot of times. I'm sure anybody who as old as I am had to deal with that a lot. So
Yeah,
this was
none of that stuff even existed when I was doing stuff. It was final.
yeah. Yeah, I was able to. I don't know what happened to all those cartridges on my dad's saved throughout the years, but I remember there were times when all four of us, me, mom, my sister, and myself, would drive around certain areas. Whether it's Detroit or other spots. Listening to either stuff a Motown collection. That's when I first heard of "Dancing in the Streets" by Martha and the Vandellas. Of course, the Beatles helped soundtrack the U.S. version with the instrumental scores. And on summertime, it
Right.
would, of course, be Sergeant Pepper's. And man, like I was blown away by the songs, the styles, the sound effects, and everything else on it. And when the CD format came out in 1987, 20 years later after it came out originally, it was like I didn't have a CD player at the time, but I was able to get it on a cassette and driving down my first car with that tape blasting. It was like, oh my gosh, the utopia that I felt was just like, holy cow,
Oh yeah, that was unbelievable.
man. And also keep in mind, other Beatle albums are good for a summer cruise, or whether it's the White Album, Magical Mystery Tour, um, other albums like a Revolver, such. You know, get, but and for sadly, I wasn't able to come up with a top 20 list of my own because for two reasons. One, I would have a hell of a time trying to put this song or that song in that category because to me they're all number
Oh, it
one.
wasn't easy.
You know, I
It
know,
wasn't easy.
I know. And let alone the top 20 albums.
Yeah.
If I were to do a top 20 albums, I have to include some of the compilations that followed that Capitol EMI released it after their breakup, like rock and roll music, love songs, real
Right.
music, which was a song from all their movies and such, rarities and this and that. I mean, it's kind of, it's kind of hard to simplify because, and plus, I think I mentioned this, um, a lot of the Beatles songs were absolutely outstanding on their own.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
That they were.
yeah, they were. So I give credit to Arknolia because he's able to come up with a good list, whereas myself, I'm like, duh. So credit to
Well,
you.
the
Much,
deal is number 20 is, it could be just as good as number 1.
yeah. And it's hard, and like I said, it's hard to distinctify because, I mean, let's face it, this is the Fab Four. These were the saviors of the music world in the 1960s after the day the music died a couple years earlier than that. And this, I've mentioned this before. This group was probably one of the biggest reasons why sales of electric guitars skyrocketed and inspired a lot of people to pick up the guitars, including me personally.
Oh yeah, me too.
Yeah, In fact, one of these days I should probably do a guitar playing video. I gotta come up with a sort of riff or something like that, or a cover to play along with.
Yeah.
Yeah, I should probably get to that sometime soon. You know. All right, so you got your wrist ready, dude?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Early Beatles.
All right, go right ahead.
Number 20, I got And I Love Her.
Yep.
Could just as easily be number one. Who knows?
Yeah. Great song there.
Number 19, I got Yes It Is.
Um,
As we go along, I'll probably surprise you with some of this, I'm
yeah,
sure.
I think I heard. I don't know if I heard. Yes, it is. Because it must have been an earlier recording prior to signing with Capitol Records, if I'm
Oh, no.
mistaken.
Oh, no.
Oh.
It's on one of the albums, but I forget which one.
Oh, okay. Got to remember the difference between the U.S. and the U.K. versions are a
Well, it was
lot
on the
more
U.S.
different.
album.
Oh, okay.
I forget which one, though.
All right.
Number 18, I got I Need You, which I believe is from Help.
Yes, great song from George Harrison there, by the way. Great song.
Yeah, yeah. I like some of George Harrison's stuff. I don't know. Maybe I'm different, but I did.
But then again, George Harrison was probably one of the most underrated of the songwriting, because of course, at that time, the main focus was on John and Paul. They were like
Right.
considered the top songwriters of the group.
And they were kind of like, okay, George, you can have one song on this album, stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah. Of course, except for the White Album, whereas it had one song on each side of that double album there.
Yeah. Okay, number 17, I got another Harrison song, Taxman.
Oh yeah. Oh gosh. Anybody who's ever been screwed over by the during tax season can relate to that song. Apparently, from what I understand in the Paul McCartney interview, that George was very upset at what happened with his taxes around the time, and he wrote that as an FU to them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
And then number 16, I got is Dr. Robert,
Oh yeah, from the Yesterday and
which,
Today in the U.S.
right.
version there. I remember hearing that song there. I remember getting that album for Christmas time, not with the alternate cover with the Beatles around that a suitcase there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. The other cover, I had a friend that actually had an album that had that new cover pasted over the old cover,
yeah,
and we spent a long time trying to get that old cover off so we could see
the original there,
the
and
original cover.
it probably didn't work, did it? Because the kind of
Well, it
whatever.
kind of did, but it kind of didn't.
Oh,
You could see it, but you still had scraps of the new cover all over it,
I see. Yeah, I can
but you
understand it.
could see it.
I can imagine what it looked like there, afterwards.
Yeah. And number 15, I got is Girl. Is there anybody going to listen to my story all about a girl?
Yes. I remember
Great
hearing
song.
that. Yeah, I remember hearing that in the cartoon version. Actually, the cartoon series that we spoke about. And in
Oh,
fact,
yeah.
that's where I learned most about their songs from the cartoons. I was like, wow, I was very infatuated with the cartoons. That's what really got me into their music.
And I think they played mostly the early stuff in those. I don't remember them playing anything from Sergeant Pepper and Beyond in the cartoons. I think the cartoons were gone by then.
Yeah, I believe so. Because the only thing they were able to sneak in prior to Sergeant Pepper was the Strawberry Fields Forever and Penny Lane single.
Yeah. Number 14, I got Please Please Me. That's an early one. In fact,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
pretty much considered their first big one.
Oh. And of course, the UK album version where they're looking down from the EMI building in England there.
Yeah, they repeated it on the
Yeah, the Blue album.
62, 66, and the 67 through 70 on the Red album.
Yeah, and the Blue album as well. They just switched photos there, but they
Yeah,
kept the same. But they kept the same gatefold photo of them with all with those crowd of people there.
yeah. Those were some pretty good albums too,
Yeah,
actually.
interesting. I know a neighbor of mine, of ours, back when they lived in Roseville, had the Blue album, and they made recorded the album on the cassette for me to listen to. I was like, wow, interesting stuff they did after we in the later years.
Yeah.
Yep.
Number 13 I got is If I Fell.
which was, of course, featured in the Hard Day's Night movie.
Yeah. And this again demonstrated some of their harmony. They were great at harmonizing.
They were absolutely. I was thinking about the reprise version of Sergeant Pepper, and I was listening, thinking about how John and Paul harmonized well on that song there.
Yep. Yeah, they did real. The harmonies in a lot of their songs are good, but I really like the unusual in that. That one's an unusual harmony.
Mm.
Number 12, I got Every Little Thing,
Yeah, I think I heard that one there, but I don't think I have.
You, it, you'd know it. It's actually got covered by Yes.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Interesting. I got to check that out sometime there.
yeah, that's a good song. Number 11, I got She's a Woman, which is a McCartney thing.
Absolutely, good song there.
It did that, it was. Number 10, I got is their cover of Words of Love, the old Buddy Holly song,
Ah, that's right. They were big Buddy Holly fans as well.
which is a real good song. In fact, the band I was in covered it.
Yeah.
That's another demonstration of harmonies.
Yep.
Number 9, I got Ticket to Ride from Help.
Oh yeah, great song. Great song there by those guys.
Yeah, really was. And the Carpenters covered that one.
I gotta check that one out just as well. It's hard to cover count all the Beatle covers that
Yeah,
are out there.
Vanilla Fudge covered that song.
Wow, yeah, nice. But then again, Vanilla Fudge also did a great job with "You Keep Me Hanging On," the old Supreme song. We know that. I prefer that over the Supremes anytime, man.
Yeah, they did a lot of pretty good covers, and they did some good originals too. But when we get to Vanilla Fudge, we'll kind of talk about that a little bit too,
Yeah,
because they did some pretty good stuff.
yeah, they did.
Number 8, I got Norwegian Wood.
Hmm.
Interesting John Lennon song.
Which I think it was about a one night stand for if I'm correct.
Yeah, I think so. I think Mahogany Rush covered that song.
Mm. Frank Marino
Yep.
and the boy and his band there.
Number 7's Nowhere Man, another good example of harmony.
Oh yeah.
I'm not sure who wrote that one.
I think it was probably Lennon McCartney, you know.
Oh, I'm pretty sure you're right.
Yeah, because remember
Number
they.
6, I got Paperback Writer.
Oh yeah. Gosh, another great song about I guess somewhere somehow I guess all the authors out there must have had that song in mind when they decided to become writers.
Yeah, yeah. Number 5's 8 Days a Week.
Great
I
song.
like that beginning where it just kind of fades in with the guitar
I
thing.
liked the whole song in general. You know,
Oh,
I
yeah.
love that song.
Yeah. And then number 4, I got I Feel Fine.
Oh yeah, good one, another good
Great
one there.
song. And number 3, I got I'm Only Sleeping.
Another great one from the Revolver album. That was the
Yeah.
one of the John Lennon tripped out songs that he was coming up with at that time.
Yeah. And then number 2 I got is Rain, which
Another
that song was
Lennon. Yep, yeah,
that song was incredibly innovative.
absolutely. And also check out the backwards masking at the end of that song of John Lennon.
Oh yeah.
It's John Lennon, I guess, singing one of the verses from the beginning of the song, but in backwards.
Yeah. And in a sense, Dan Fogelberg covered that song when he did Rhythm of the Rain.
Mm,
He ended Rhythm of the Rain with one verse from Rain,
wow,
and it blends well. I mean, it really does.
it does. Yeah,
That's an interesting lesson. Of course, I like Dan Fogelberg.
yeah,
We'll
it's
get to
true.
that.
Yeah.
And my number one song may surprise you.
Hmm.
Tomorrow Never Knows.
And no surprise there, because that was one of the other tripped out tunes that the Beatles came up with. You know, I had that song in my mind along with the cartoon for that particular track. With I guess it's a Fat Boy doing that song in the cartoon where they're singing to that one lady inside of that temple there, and it's like, and she's dancing away, and us and everybody else just starts dancing along as well. A lot of stuff with running backwards, a lot of flutes, Mellotron type flutes, I think it was used on that song, going backwards, such and such.
Yeah.
And that was pre Sergeant Pepper, by the way.
Oh
They
yeah.
would repeat that with the being for the benefit of Mr. Kite on Sergeant Pepper, by the way. I'm thinking when you listen to the ways and how those sounds are, the way they're come in the middle and towards the song there.
Yeah, and Phil Collins covered that song. Phil
Yep. Yeah, I
Collins.
remember hearing that on Face Value from 1981.
Right. And it's kind of like, whoa, that was kind of unexpected.
Yeah.
And of course, they got tons of honorable mentions.
Uh huh.
I mean, songs that would like, I like them.
I'm
I just didn't have
surprised.
room.
I'm surprised. I want to tell you a Harrison composition was not on the list there because I liked that song as well. In fact, I remember
Oh yeah.
Ted Nugent covered that song for his album "State of Shock" from 1979, and
Yep.
that's two covers very powerful stuff there.
Well, as I look at some of these, I'm kind of like, wow, I left those off the list. Well, can't, I can only do 20.
I know. It's like I know this is why I had a hard time coming up with my top 20 list. There got so many damn good ones. It's like, geez, man, I cannot put how where to put this level, put this at the number, this, put that number. It's like
Well,
fuck
if I
it,
do
yeah,
this again a month from now, a lot of them may be different.
yeah. Who
Although I'm
knows?
pretty sure that Tomorrow Never Knows will be number one anyway.
Uh,
But who knows? I don't know.
hmm
But yeah, I want to tell you is another good song
Great
that's,
song there. Yes, absolutely. Look it up, folks. Look it up, definitely.
yeah. If I Needed Someone was another good one that hard to leave off. Day Tripper.
That's true. Well, yeah. And
She said.
yep. How many times have we heard? I'm thinking about the line. It's all about the he said, she said bullshit there that Fred Durst talked about. And I guess that song pretty much summed up the whole perspective of that debate there.
Yeah, the one line that always got me was she that said, I know what it's like to be dead. And I'm like,
Yeah.
wow.
And by the way, I think I mentioned this story before. I know what it's like to be dead. That line came up from actually from Ringo. There was the Beatles were at this party, doing the labor drinking, doing a few drugs here and there, and Ringo was high off his kite, and apparently there was some sort of reporter from either a magazine or a newspaper in par, and the Beatles were trying to hide from him, so the reporter does not find out what they were doing and report it back to the press. It's because avoid bad publicity, needless to say. Because you remember, Paul McCartney got in a lot of trouble for admitting that he took LSD a couple of times before.
Right,
And
right.
Ringo was unaware because he was high as he was Superman high. He was like, I know what it's like to be dead. I know what it's like to be dead. And the rest were like, shut up, Ringo, shut up. And I guess that line kind of stuck with him that when he wrote that song down.
Yeah, what's kind of weird is uh, I guess in a sense that that line appealed to me because it's been, I think 6 years.
Yeah.
I had to think about it. That I was at work and I had an episode where I actually went out and they had to revive me, and the doctor told me that I had been clinically dead for 10 minutes. And I don't remember anything that happened or anything that went on during the whole time,
Wow.
other than I can tell people, yeah, doc told me I was dead for 10 minutes.
Wow.
So I guess that song appeals to me in that sense because, in a sense, I guess I know what it's like to be dead.
Yeah. Yeah, but let me tell you something. It's tripped out, but at the same time, it's I have to say it's a tripped out thing to say when you really think about it. There, I know
Yeah.
what it's like to be dead. Oh wow, man. Nowadays, you
Yeah.
say that they'll think right away. Yeah, you're Superman high on crack or something, there, boy.
Which is a little bit different, I suppose.
Yep.
But again, that's up through Revolver that they just kind of they just kind of improved, and then of course we had Sergeant Pepper.
Yep, absolutely, and that's when the experimentation really started from there. With
Yeah, and they said I think Paul said he was influenced by the Beach Boys' Pet Sounds,
yeah, we that
and there was another one too. I can't remember what it was though.
couple of I think it's another album. I guess you're referring to.
Yeah, there was a
Yeah,
couple others that they, but especially Pet Sounds. He just absolutely loved that album.
I still gotta check that out for some reason. I don't know why. But okay, so you have your other lists for the after Sergeant Pepper ready?
Yeah,
All right, sweet. Let's get to it.
number 20 is Oh Darling.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Slow dance with your LeMay during that song, and the vibes of love will surely come to overcome you. Definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in number 19 I got The Two of Us, which is another great harmony.
Mm-hmm. Another one there. Also from the Let It Be album there.
Right.
Yeah.
Number 18 I got is Get Back.
Oh yeah, with Billy Preston on the keyboards there.
Right.
Yeah, he
Right.
he did most of the keyboard work, I guess, on the Let It Be album, as well as the. I think he did some on the Abbey Road, if I'm correct, as well.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Number 17, we're going to a Harrison song, and it's on a single.
Mm.
I forget what it was the flip side of, but the song's called Inner Light,
Mm.
and you can definitely hear the Indian influence in that song.
Oh yeah.
Because I think Harrison played a sitar in that song almost all the way through
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, keep in mind Harrison was the one who has still held on to those Maharaji type beliefs, and when they left India, there, you know, I guess the three were kind of disillusioned about it, but Harrison
Yeah,
held on, and he continued on throughout the rest of his life.
yeah. Then number 16, I got Dear Prudence.
Good song there. Which, by the way, if you ever heard the Susie and the Banshees version of that song, definitely check it out there if you ever heard that yet.
Yeah. Number 15, I got Julia,
I guess that song was for
off of the White Album.
yeah, a song for Lennon's mother there,
Yeah,
who sadly, I guess, what I understand, died in a car wreck when he was a little boy there.
yeah. Number 14, I got I Am the Walrus,
Yeah,
which actually, on reflection, I'm wondering whether or not I should have put it higher, but it's okay there.
yeah. I always wondered what the subject of that song was.
I'm not sure there was one.
I know. It was just somebody that came up with that at the last minute. Remember, Lennon was the most noted one to come up with all sorts of the wild ass stuff during all
Right.
those periods there. I mean, some of the stuff he released the two books of awkward drawings and awkward poems and writings that he had. He released the two books, of that material. I think is let me I forgot I was given a copy of two of those works together. I guess it was combined together, and I gotta look up the name of those two books.
Yeah.
Let's
Good
see.
old Wikipedia.
Yeah, I think it was In His Own Right and A Spaniard in the Works. Those were the two ones that he released in there.
Yeah.
Yes.
And number 13, I got Rocky Raccoon.
Great song about payback there, about a cowboy who wants to get back at this guy for stealing his girlfriend there.
Yeah. Yeah. And number 12, I should have probably bunched them all together,
Uh-huh.
but the best part of this whole thing is the end.
Oh yeah, the Abbey Road melody.
Right.
Yeah, that's That was kind of awkward. Not really awkward, but it was a good thing to listen to. Believe it or not, it is.
Yeah, but it's just got some great work in it.
And you wonder, did he just went into this to perform in the next tune right then and there, or did he stop and just got those songs edited together so perfectly?
Yeah, and I read a book somewhere that they're not exactly in the order they intended.
Mm,
One or two of them were switched, but I don't remember what they were or where they came in the order.
wow,
But there were one or two of them that got switched somehow.
wow, I see there.
And then number 11, I got Here Comes the Sun, another McCartney,
Um,
another Harrison song.
yep, I remember he performed that with Paul Simon with him on an episode of Saturday Night Live back in 1978, which me and my sister stayed up all night at that time, just to watch, because it was George Harrison. And at that
Right,
time, I never stayed up till about after 11 p.m. It was like a first for both of us because usually we were in bed around 9 or 10 or earlier than that.
yeah. And number 10, I got Because, which is an excellent representation of the harmonies.
Absolutely. Did you ever check out the Alice Cooper version?
I probably heard it, but off the top of my head, I don't remember how it went.
No, I know
Well,
it was mostly the song being performed. Bee Gees doing the backup vocals and Alice doing this because the world is round. It is usual Alice Cooper spoken mode there.
right.
And it was probably one of the few times we saw the Coop with a mustache.
Yeah,
And I'm talking about the movie Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, where he plays father's son.
right, right. Number 9, I got I Want You, She's So Heavy.
Oh yeah, I understand that there were a lot of filters used towards the end of that track there.
Oh, yeah. There
Yeah,
was a lot going on in the end of that one.
yeah, but there was a lot of There was a lot of talking. There was, I think it was Paul saying something after John did that. Yeah, and I guess Paul. Some say it was Paul mouth, sing along to his bass lines there. Bum. Wait to blame. Let's say if you play a certain series of chords, a bum 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 bum. Some people like to tend to go da 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 as they're playing along with their voice.
Right,
And I believe that's
right,
what Paul was doing when, of course, it was muffled in the background as we could see there. And there's some sort of legend that said that somebody from the control room was like said saying something. It was like, "Ah, my, like, oh, John, you were too loud with that," or something like that.
Huh. Yeah, there's a lot going on in that one.
Yeah.
Number 8, I got another Harrison song, Something.
Oh, yeah, great! One of the greatest love songs ever, no doubt about that.
I believe he wrote it for Patty Boyd.
And yeah, yeah, who was I guess at that time still married to Eric Clapton. No, 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 wait,
Mm,
no, no, no. My correction.
Harrison first, then Clapton,
Yeah, yeah. Eric Clapton had the hots for her. But then
which is
it's
what
kind of
Layla is all about.
yeah, exactly. And you ever seen the official video for something?
I don't know if I have or not.
I saw it on YouTube. They compiled all footages of the four Beatles with their lovers, John and Yoko, George and Patty, um, Paul and Linda, and of course I think it was Ringo and Maureen. I think her name was Maureen Starr. All in separate footages, compiled together, such and such.
Yeah.
Yep.
Then number 7, I got It's All Too Much from Yellow Submarine.
Ah, yeah. Good song there. And I think it had explosive introduction. It's been a while
Yeah.
since I heard that song there.
Oh, yeah. In fact, Journey covered that in one of their first two albums.
Oh yeah.
Number 6, I got Hey Jude.
Oh yeah. The song which we all know was written for Julian Lennon, Lennon's son, which Paul wrote for Julian when the word got out that his parents were divorcing.
Right.
Yeah.
Number 5, we're back to Harrison, While My Guitar Gently Weeps.
Yeah, which featured, of course, Eric Clapton doing the leads there, doing the weeping
Right.
guitar solos.
And the next 4 actually delve into the psychedelia part. Number 4, I got Strawberry Fields Forever.
Oh yeah, which by the way, it was slowed. If you listen to it, it's actually a slowed down a few notches there.
Yeah, yeah,
I guess there was a version of that on the Love album, which was, of course, compiled by Giles Martin, George's son,
right.
George Martin, that is. And I guess what they did is they remixed many of their tracks for the Circus Soleil shows that they were doing, which that featured Beatles music, different remixes and versions of their older and earlier songs. And of
Yeah,
course, yeah, and I guess the original vocal line for Strawberry Fields is featured on that album.
right. Number 3, I got Being for the Benefit of Mr. Kite.
Oh yeah, that's the one we mentioned out
Great
before.
little song.
Absolutely, there. Absolutely.
And number 2, I got Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds,
Oh
which,
my gosh, which was inspired by a drawing that Julian brought home to his father John.
yeah. And it's funny because everybody says, oh, it's LSD.
Yeah,
No, it's not. It's what a kid drew.
exactly. But then again, you know how some people are. They like to assume different things about this song and that song, and especially since the main words in that song, Lucy, Sky, Diamond, started with the letters L, S, and D.
Yeah. Okay, can you guess my number 1?
Let me see. It's probably from. Let me think. It's probably from the White Album. I'm thinking, or Magical
No.
Mystery Tour. No.
Oh, no.
Oh no. Probably from Abbey Road.
Again, no.
Let It Be or Yellow Submarine.
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Lay it on me.
A day, a day in the life.
Oh gosh. Oh yeah. I remember we were talking about that one before. Just the feel of that song was just like wow.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah. By the way, I think I mentioned this before. When the after John's done with his final "I love to turn you on," you hear the orchestra conductor saying, counting backwards, eight,
Yeah.
7, 6, and they still counting when the orchestra kicks in as well.
Well, well, it's funny because they asked the Beatles what they wanted to play, and he said, just, I don't know what else to tell you, but just freak out.
Hmm.
And that's what that basically is.
Yep. No freak out period.
Yeah. And chord might still be at the end, might still be in the Guinness Book of World Records as the longest sustained chord.
Yeah, Lexi, at the end there, yeah. And what I guess when you understand, George Martin, was kept raising the volume levels up all the way up to make it last a little longer there,
Yeah.
which is pretty cool. Which was very cool for them to do that. And of course, we cannot forget the inner groove that was included in the UK version of there, that didn't come out
Right.
until 1987 when the CDs were reissued there here in the states. Of course,
Yeah. Yeah.
it was also featured on the Rarities album there. Let's keep that in mind there.
Yeah, which actually is a pretty good pickup if you want to pick up some of the stuff that was not on the albums or alternates on some of their songs.
Yeah, like a Helter Skelter without the fade back in.
Right. It's trying, and there's an alternate ending to Penny Lane on the Rarities album, which is interesting.
Yes.
And let's see what else. I Am the Walrus has an extra verse, or not verse, but an
Yeah.
extra couple of,
Couple lines in the song there.
yeah.
Yeah. And all right, so some of these, I have someone in my chat saying, "Box of chocolates and zombies. Why did they call themselves the Beatles?" Well, I guess they were originally called the Silver Beatles when they first started.
There's kind of an interesting story to that if you want to look it up real quick on Wikipedia.
Yeah. And I guess that they decided to add an A instead of the extra E in there, to kind of like make it a little bit more different, I guess.
Yeah, and it's kind of a play of some sort on something else they had going on, but I'm not real sure what the story is. But yeah, it's well, it stuck obviously.
Yeah. You got to remember, a lot of bands at that time were coming up with a lot of original names. Like, we still you have to ask Jimmy Page or a couple of members of the Yardbirds where they got their name from, or the Kinks where they got their name from as well.
Right, right. They came up with some interesting ones to say the least.
And they still continue to do that. I mean, Jefferson Airplane was an interesting one.
Yeah,
Strawberry Alarm Clock.
yeah.
Yeah, that was an interesting name, that's for sure.
Electric prunes.
Oh yeah, so
What?
no, I was listening to that. I was at a Goodwill, and they played "I Had Too Much to Dream" last night through the speakers. I'm like, I don't think we ever touched on that group when you think about it.
Well, they're not British. We hadn't got to the
Yeah,
American
it's true.
groups yet,
Yeah, they were American psychedelic group there, and they came
and
up with
we'll
some
get to
interesting.
those
Yeah, definitely.
because we got the Blues Magoos.
Yeah,
I mean, the list is virtually endless.
absolutely. There, we got to start. Definitely got to look into that definitely because there were a lot. The U.S. did came up with their own brand of psychedelic rock that should be that was often at times overlooked. Yeah, yeah, and it's kind of funny, So while we're a subject on the Beatles, I was wondering, you think in time Paul McCartney and Ringo Starr and the estates of Harrison and Lennon will finally get the rights to their songs?
I probably at this point they might be able to, but I'm sure it would cost more than they're probably willing to give up.
Spent. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, because these are songs that made a lot the Fab Four a lot of millions.
Yeah, and I'm not even sure who owns them now.
I know. I'm thinking it'd possibly be this company called Apple Core. I didn't start hearing about Apple Core back until I guess it was in the early 1990s. I started when they started really issuing the Beatles anthologies.
Right,
Yeah, and of course the anthology movie as well, where the Beatles told their own story after years of people telling their stories.
right.
Yeah, so God knows it's going to probably it's going to take forever, no doubt about that, because when you have a property of the great one of the considered the greatest band of all time, the band that influenced so many people to pick up guitars, and to be in a band their own selves, influencing everybody on this planet. It says
Right,
it's hard to give that up because they're still covered, they're still played on the radio today, and they're still highly praised by everybody from boy bands to alternative bands out there as well. And they're plus they're being covered like say the Damned, Ted Nugent, and a couple others there. When you look at it,
right, right.
I mean, this is and especially you got to remember the pounds of money that you're going to be receiving. And one thing you certainly don't want to do is give up that money. That's going to be coming
No.
in.
Oh, and Jeff Beck does a real good cover of A Day in the Life.
Oh wow, the Jeff Burke
It's
group.
it. No, Jeff Beck,
Oh,
which is instrumental and
mm.
live,
Oh wow.
worth looking up. And he also covered "She's a Woman," an interesting version.
Oh, interesting. I got to look this up.
Because bear in mind that he's basically instrumental. He doesn't sing.
I know. Yeah. I remember that one album, Flash, she did out, which featured everybody from Jimmy Hall to Rod Stewart and a couple others there.
Yeah, that was they did the "People Get Ready" by him and Stewart.
Yep, I remember it. I guess it was a cover version by what was it? Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes.
Who originally did that song? Not the Temptations, the Miracles.
I think. Let me find out. People get ready. let's see here. Let's see there. The song. Let me look up here. Let's see what we got. We have Curtis Mayfield, Eva Cassidy, Al Green, The Impressions, Crystal
The
Lewis.
Impressions.
Yep, The Impressions. Alicia Keys, Seal, the Golden Gospel Singers, and on and on and on. I guess
Yeah,
it's a tradition of Black American freedom songs which use train imagery as such as Wade in the Water, The Gospel Train, and a couple others.
right, right,
Yeah. And keep in mind, the Impressions was a group that featured a young Curtis Mayfield, who would later leave the group, to focus on the record company that he had put together, which was called Curdom Records, and which released his solo stuff as well, including the Superfly soundtrack, which I had in my
right,
collection as well.
right.
Nice. It's kind of funny, I also know you remember the discussion that me and YR was doing on our episode of Metal Maniacs, the group breakups and stuff. And I remember having this conversation with Bailey Smoked Rudolph a couple years back. He asked me, do I believe that did Yoko Ono break up the Beatles? And I said no.
No, I think Paul was ready to leave before Yoko.
And I think John was ready to leave just as well. Because remember, he was doing some crazy stuff outside of the Beatles, including
Right,
the stuff that him and Yoko recorded, like Life with the Lions, unfinished music, the Two Virgins album, and the album, the
right.
back and front cover of that album, which pissed Paul off. I mean, like, come on, man.
Yeah, yeah,
The album that was probably one of the most highly censored albums of all time. But of course, others will follow, like Virgin Killer by the Scorpions. The only Blind Faith album that they put out, and so many others. But I think it was both John and Paul. They were both ready to hang it up there. I guess equally, as needless to say.
Well,
But
and to a degree, George, because he was tired of being third wheel.
yeah, that's true as well. I guess he was also tired of seeing John and Paul go at it a lot of times.
Right,
Yeah. In fact, there was a story that when John was recording "How Do You Sleep," which was a verbal shot at Paul.
oh yeah,
Yeah, he was like George and Ringo were in the studio, like, and they were like to John, "Come on, that's enough, okay? Enough already. Just let it go.
yeah,
And so it's sad how they broke up. But I think,
yeah,
but I think the problem was that you got to remember that they were trying to run a record company called Apple, as we all know. But the thing was, it was not being run, I guess, properly at that time. You got to have a lot of good mind skills. You have to a lot of
right,
teachings to run a record label. Because
right.
like running a bar, it is like a science. You have to know how
Mm-hmm.
much to spend to promote this particular artist. And you got to remember, with the exception of Badfinger, most of the artists on that label didn't really sell a lot of copies for the label there, and which puts the label and the artist in deep debt.
Yeah, I think they had Billy Preston, but he didn't sell big.
Yeah,
And they had Mary Hopkins had one hit.
yeah. James Taylor had his one album for that label, and he soon later left that label to sign with Warner Brothers. And he became a superstar, and of course
Right.
the group that was considered the second Beatles, Badfinger. At least they were doing well for the label. Songs like A Day After
Oh yeah.
Day, No Matter What, Come and Get It. Their
Right.
albums like Ass, No Dice, and a couple others.
Yeah. They definitely did some. I can't even remember the name of the album that had Day After Day on it.
I don't know either. I just only know the
Straight up.
straight up. And of course, the music from the movie The Magic Christian.
right.
which I guess
Yeah,
started.
we'll we'll spend a little time talking about them because they had some stuff that was worth mentioning.
Yeah, of course, we cannot
For
forget Without You.
and it's funny, for a long time I thought Harry Nelson wrote that song because he
So
did it
did
too,
I. So did
and it
I.
turned out he didn't.
Yeah, Tom Evans and
Badfinger did.
Tom Evans and Pete Ham, the two main members of the group, who sadly committed suicide years apart because of the bad management issues that band was having.
Yeah, and like I said, it's kind of ironic because Harry Nelson was the cover.
Yeah,
So,
and later on, Annie Nancy Wilson and Hart, and of course Mariah Carey as well.
yeah, yeah.
So I wonder what Pete Ham and Tom Evans were thinking when they were looking down from rock and roll heaven and seeing that song being covered a few times there by Mariah Carey.
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting thing because, well, the best versions of that song were Badfinger and Harry Nelson.
Yes. Well, I was just saying, Mariah Carey did a better version than what she did with Bringing On the Heartbreak, the Def Leppard song. If you ever heard that, I advise you to go with it about a couple seconds because you'll be like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I've heard a few of those kind of covers
Oh,
that I'm kind of like,
gosh. Come on.
what?
Why? We're like, I heard that. I was like, why? Mariah, why? Are
Well,
you.
it's kind of interesting because along the same vein is, it'll come to me.
Okay.
Oh, the Shania Twain cover of Piece of My Heart, the old Janis Joplin
Oh
song.
my gosh. I think Melissa Etheridge probably did a way better version because Melissa had that voice, whereas Shania was all kissy, kissy, cuddly, cuddly type stuff
Well,
there.
it took all the emotion out of that song
Oh,
completely
oh gosh.
when she did it. I mean, it was just like, I'm just singing these words that I see on a piece of paper.
Yeah. If you're going to do a cover version, at least add some emotion to it.
Especially a song that's full of emotion.
Yeah, a lot of high pitched emotion the way Janis Joplin originally did it.
Yeah. I'm on the phone.
Oh, okay. Talking to someone?
Sorry about that.
That's okay. I heard somebody was trying to butt in, I guess.
Yeah, you know my situation.
Oh, okay, yes. All right. So let's see about here. I do not know why, by a chance, the video I took outside, I filmed outside, coming back from Metro Park Square, didn't load on my channel. I tried to load it up.
Hmm. Interesting.
I don't know. Well, you know what? I said, screw it. You know, it was a promo video for this program here, and I
And we
guess
might mention while we're here and people listen later, hopefully.
yes,
Tomorrow we'll go over our list for the Who and the Stones.
yeah, absolutely, yes. Because
And then we'll move on in our journey.
yes, we're going to be covering. I guess we're going to covering the U.S. bands around the '60s and psychedelic era. I guess.
Actually, we'll start with surf, hot rod, and instrumental.
Oh yeah, which is surf music, I guess, like the Ventures,
Yeah.
Shannon Dean, and of course the big ones of that genre, the Beach Boys.
Yeah, I'm kind of trying to consider whether or not we should do Beach Boys and Janet Dean separate together
Hmm.
or go ahead and just cover them in that little surf because there's not that much surf, hot rod, and instrumental to talk about.
Yeah, that's true there. But then again, you know, we could probably do songs about hot rods all we want, because
Yeah, because there's a
there's
lot
a
of
lot
them.
of them out there. Yeah, from Maybelline, from Chuck Berry, Jesus Built My Hot Rod by the Ministry, I'm in Love with My Car by Queen.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, well, it's not necessarily a car, but it's a moving vehicle either way. Bad Motor Scooter by Sammy Hagar and Montrose.
Yeah, but when we talk about the surf hot rod, we're talking mostly early 60s.
Well, that's true. Yeah, there's so many throughout the years, it's hard to count.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
If there was a list of rock songs of about cars and automobiles, or whether it's a bicycle or a motor scooter, there'll be tons of them. No doubt about that. It'll probably be 150.
That'd be quite a few of them. Yeah,
Absolutely.
easy.
Absolutely, man. All right. All right. So I guess that's covers our today's program. I guess if I take if I'm correct.
Yeah, unless you want to go on to something else real quick.
Well, anything you want to? Well, first and foremost, we want to say rest in peace to a broadcasting legend. I found out earlier today Larry King has passed away at age 87.
Yeah, and if you're a baseball fan, this earlier this week, Hank Aaron passed away.
Yeah, that's true as well. I heard about that yesterday as well, man. On one of the greats of the baseball league there.
Yep, yep,
And of course, we touched on the Phil Spector passed away there on the
right.
last weekend there, no doubt about that. It's like all the legends are starting to pass. We're not even
Well,
through the first month of 2021, and already the big ones are starting to leave us already.
yeah, 2021 is turned out. Hey, I don't know how to term it. It's turned out where people are passing crazily.
Yeah,
A lot of them.
yeah, but some of them, I guess, and I guess, of course, I think I mentioned this as well. Condolences and well wishes to Tommy Yancey, 2010. His father passed away.
Oh man, I hate to hear that.
Yeah, so
I didn't know that.
yeah, I found out last Wednesday when I called in on the Foul Mouse Network. It was me and Ken throughout the rest of the night there, rest of the program, I should say.
Well, Tommy, you never probably hear me or anything, but uh, my condolences also. And I'm sorry to hear that.
I'm still trying to get on what else. So I want to do a program with Tommy, describing to this community about autism, how it works and how it plays out. Give the people out there a perspective of why some people freak out the way they do, or explain the thinking pattern of an autistic person. To give a better understanding to the people out there who often pick on others.
Well, that would actually be kind of interesting if you could get him to do that.
I would. I left a message with Danny MT, Tommy's buddy there. I had a conversation with him on Scott McKinnon's channel there a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, that would be an interesting show, I think,
Yes, it would.
and it would probably open up some eyes,
Yeah.
you might say.
Because you remember all the times Tommy got ruthlessly picked on Joe Cronin's and
Right.
farmhouse programs, from the donations, all the people calling in, the people in the chats there. We want to give the people an idea of the thinking patterns of an autistic
Yeah.
individual.
Yeah, and it happened to him on JB's show too.
Yeah. You know, the,
So,
I know. And by the way, I hope JB's doing well. We're still waiting on him to make his return there to the broadcasting spectrum.
yeah, I hadn't heard anything.
Well, he was.
And when I checked his channel, he'd taken all his videos down.
What? Oh, wait a minute. Are you seriously?
I went to his
Again,
channel, there's nothing there.
let me look it up here, because I would be disappointed if he removed all his content again, because he did that before there. So
Yeah.
come on. Let me get this.
Yeah, I went there just to see what was going on, and it said there was no videos. And what?
You all right? Oh my gosh, no content, no videos. What the hell, JB, dude? Come on. You had some.
And I know
Yeah,
it's not listening to any.
I know. I know you have about two videos on the other channel you have, the JB Sports Radio Show, which was pretty good there. I mean, what the hell? Wow.
Yeah.
Because
I don't know why he took it down.
I don't know why. What is the purpose of people taking down your content?
I honestly don't know.
I mean, Scott McKinnon did it with his channel, YR. He took out a lot of episodes from his channel there that he did in the past.
Well, I pretty much leave my stuff up because we don't do anything controversial.
And I know
And
the only thing that the videos I taken down were the ones where I'm criticizing Tommy and a couple others there.
Yeah.
and that's about it.
Yeah. Well, if you're able to do something with Tommy, I'd be interested in knowing about it so I can at least hear it.
Yeah, it's true. Well, this I did. This was prior to you and I hooking up when I took down those Tommy videos there.
Yeah, because I remember, you guys,
Bickering.
yeah, that too, but I can remember, was it Ken that got the two of you together
Well,
and got things pretty much hashed out?
basically, it was also on my part of doing, coming to terms with something. You see, the way I was raised and growing up in Detroit and Roseville, you see, you were not supposed to forget things. You were supposed to know on the dot what about this and about that, and
Right,
that was something
right,
my dad, taught me a lot of times. And basically, I was that's how we grew up. So, and I was trying to do that same logic with Tommy. Like you should know this, you should know how not what to say, you should
right,
know what
right.
not to say here and there, and such. And what it was is that it came back to me. Well, I was talking to someone the same way, with our family, and my brother-in-law just went off of me for doing that. And when I afterwards, after he said his piece, I sat down and figured out, and he's right. I was talking to a couple of people like my dad would speak to me, and I was realizing, what I was trying to, I was repeating what my dad was doing.
Yeah, and a lot of times that kind of thing can, yeah,
And I just, I realized I cannot be like that. I cannot be that person, no matter how angry you can get. Now, a couple of times I tried to explain it to Bullfrog, how to act and how not to act, but Bullfrog has his own thinking patterns, like a 5-year-old child, that you can't really get through. The thing you could do is, just, is, simply, let him find out things for his own self. And of course,
exactly.
it's not, and Tommy, and of course, from what I understand, when me and Ken and the Minnesotas had our show together on both their channel, my channel, Tommy kind of like found out because he found out he had a lot of people catering him to here and there, and he was spending most of the holidays by himself. He was sick, his parents were sick, and such. And you kind of like you find out offhand, what people were trying to get through his head.
Yeah, there was when he made up with you, I gained a lot of respect for him that he was able to do that,
Yeah, because
that he was able to change his thinking pattern and say, you're right, and I gained a lot of respect for what he did.
yeah, but also plus it was also me as well coming to terms with what I was trying to
Right,
do as well.
right.
Yeah, I
Well,
took
you
the
expected it from.
yeah, well, of course, I had to realize I was in the wrong just as much. Trying to be his father, trying to be his commander, trying to do this. But like I said, that's how I was brought up. And it's hard
Right,
to let go of things that you grew up learning as a kid. Even though
right.
years on down the line, as an adult, you still remember those things you were taught as a young boy and girl, and it's hard to let go of that.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah,
I mean, I had things that I was brought up with too, but I basically, a lot of times, in some cases, depending on what it was, I used it or discarded it, depending on how the approach was and things of that nature.
yeah, yeah. And after what happened, and of course, after the situation with my sister that I spoke of earlier, and it's just, I realized, what, I cannot be like that person. I cannot repeat the
Right,
same things. I can't do that.
right.
So it's
It's the
time for
same
me.
thing about people who don't learn from history are doomed to repeat it, or whatever that expression is.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I had to really look inside where I was what I was trying to get at.
Right, right.
Yeah. All right. So on that note, like we said, we wish have send thoughts and prayers to Tommy AC 2010 after hearing the
Exactly.
devastated father, and hopefully him and I can do a program together on either his channel or my channel, you know. And
Yeah.
so now to probably do it for tonight's episode, episode 22 of our music memory series featuring the Beatles. And of course, tomorrow night we'll be doing the list of the Who and the Rolling Stones as well. And I guess that'll be it for tonight. Okay, and we'll be back tomorrow
Okay.
night at 7 p.m. Eastern time.
All
And
right.
we also take suggestions and calls on the Skype. Whether it's from Casey, Joe Cronin. And by the way, props to Joe Cronin for last night's 300 episode of Monetize This.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wasn't able to listen to it last night because I was a bed sleeping after a long hours at work and such. So I'll be listening to some of it later on this evening. And I
Yeah.
may, yeah,
I may have to pull it up myself.
yeah. And I'll also probably call in on Ken's program because I know he's going to be going live tonight with the UFC fight with Conor McGregor and this other cat there he's fighting. Right.
Well, I would probably do it, except I have absolutely no interest in UFC.
Yeah, and I don't really watch them. I only pay attention to the female athletes.
Probably for the most part, that's true for me too.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, because women look a lot better with those tights on than the dudes do.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. All right. So for Arknolia and myself, this is Arknolia and then the Doctor with episode 22 of our music memories series there. And we'll be back on the air tomorrow night, same time, same bat station, and all that good shit there. All right, and
Yeah.
we'll see you guys tomorrow night. Bye bye.
Bye now.
Right. All right.